Hi, I'm Mark Wheat, evening show host on The Current, here on Facebook this afternoon for another Current virtual session. And I'm really glad to be joined by an old friend of the station whose band has been in our studios many times, done really big shows for us. We'll talk about that later. And is willing to take this risk for us as we try and figure out how to do these virtual sessions and bring you into a special place in an artist's home or their heart. And for longtime fans of Mr. Joey Burns of Calexico, I'm sure it's not a surprise that Joey is going to join us today live from Tucson, Arizona. Hey, Joey.
Hey Mark, how are you? Good to see you.
I'm real well considering, Joey, and that's the first thing we'll say before we get you to play a song is how are you doing? How has the situation affected you so far, and how are you managing to deal with it?
Well, we had a couple canceled Calexico shows, and there are some summer dates that are still posted, and I'm not sure what is going to happen in June. So I'm waiting to hear. And so we're just kind of in a holding pattern. In the
Yeah.
meantime, we just had lunch. The girls have been doing a lot of online schoolwork, and they're doing really great. We take little walks around our block where we live in Tucson, Arizona with our dog and try to make the best of each and every day.
So you have daughters, Joey?
Yeah, I've got twin daughters, age 8 years old.
Oh,
Um,
wow. That's
yeah,
awesome. Well,
yeah,
send our best to them and to everyone you know, your
yeah.
family,
I
friends,
should
and
know.
musicians. We'll talk
Yeah,
later about that. But as a
okay.
musician, I hear that you've been working on using this situation in a creative way, Jerry. So why don't you give us a song?
Okay, that sounds good. I'll play a song called Sunken Waltz since we're all in this boat together, all right? Washed my face in the rivers of empire. Made a bed from a cardboard crate. Down in the city of quartz. No news, no new regrets. Tossed a Susan B over my shoulder and prayed it would rain and rain. Submerged the whole western states. Caught a last fair deal with an American seal and corporate handshake. Oh, down, take the story of Carpenter Mike. Dropped his tools and his keys and left, and headed out as straight as he could, past the city's gated neighborhoods, and slammed beneath the stars. Rode down, but he drowned, and he built a machine for no one to see. Then to fly first light, new morning. All right.
It's awesome. Keep going while you're in
Thanks,
the
Mark.
mood. Give us another one.
Sure. Well, Mark, a couple weeks ago when all this started, I saw that there was a request from Chicago Fretworks luthier shop and they said, "Hey, why don't a bunch of you artists?" And they listed a few. Write a song and do a big sing along online. And I thought, hey, why don't I'll write a verse and some ideas for a chorus.
Hmm.
So that we're into this next song called "Flatten the Curve."
That's beautiful.
If only we could flatten the curve, right?
Yeah.
More than ever now, I wish I could fly and leave this place for a little while. Over the city lights to your window sill, sing you this song on a lonely night. On this lonely night, we'll get by through this isolation. It's gonna take time. We're in the same situation. We'll get by, but first we gotta flatten the curve. Flatten the curve. Yeah, I know you're sad. I know you're confused. There's a lot going on and a lot more to lose. Now some may stumble and others may fall. Gotta help each other up after all. After all. After all. We'll get by through this isolation. It's gonna take time. We're in the same weird situation. We'll get by, but first we gotta flatten the curve. Flatten the curve. Flatten the curve. Flatten the curve. For Bill Withers and John Prine, you and me doing time will just be fine. We gotta flatten the curve. We'll get by through this isolation. It's gonna take time. We're in the same situation. We'll get by, but first we gotta flatten the curve. Flatten the curve.
Sweet. Jerry Burns, Calexico. Wow. An in the moment song, Jerry, even having the line
Yeah,
about John Prine, who we lost yesterday. And it makes me think that now is the time when you, as an artist, you don't think long term tour, next album, even next show. You're thinking, how can I respond to this right here, right now?
exactly. That's the lesson that I think that we're all coming to grips with one way or another. I mean, I could talk and talk about all that. Personally, that's what I'm really working on. And my kids, they're the best teachers. And so, yeah, they remind me, straighten up, straighten up or fly right. Um, so,
Aside
yeah, that
from,
really
yes, and aside from a wonderful family, is there any other at this time spiritual ritual aspect that you have to keep in your life to help you cope as well?
Yeah, for sure. Regardless of whether or not there's a pandemic, breathing is the first. And the
Hmm.
way that I get to that point is going outside, watering the garden, singing to the birds or listening to the birds sing, and taking my dog Birdie, ironically named, take her for a walk. Although today Twyla was suggesting that we change her name to Daisy because we found
Yeah,
some
in spring.
wildflowers.
Actually,
Yeah, Daisy.
I can give you another reason, Joey, because my wife and I used to have a bird which we called Birdie, and
Oh yeah.
we still go and visit where she rests. So
Oh,
that's got a special place in my heart. And I think you're right, connecting with
yeah,
young children, each other, and animals and nature is
yeah.
it's important at this time.
It truly is, and I love reading what the Dalai Lama has to say. If I go to Twitter, I love kind of spending time listening to what he says and or writes, and kind of
Hmm.
letting that kind of sit with me. And talk to my friends when I can. Like when I go for a dog walk at night, I will, call up a friend and say, "Hey, what's
Yeah.
going on?"
Yeah, I think a lot of us are doing that too. So you mentioned
Yeah.
earlier actually that you guys were you still on the road when things kind of started to shut down? How did it kind of work for you in terms of, getting out of the cycle and retreating to Tucson?
Well, we had just gotten home, and it was a couple weeks before I was going to go to New York to play a private concert for Rita uh, at WFUV,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
Rita,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Good
we were
people.
really looking forward to going, but unfortunately, that event has been postponed, and a
Yeah.
number of other events. There was a festival in Boise, Idaho, called Treefort,
Hmm.
and it was postponed until September. The folk
Yeah.
festival in Tucson has been either canceled or postponed. I was really looking forward to playing. I've never played at the folk festival here in town, so we
Wow,
had
in all of
to,
these years. That's great.
yeah, right. We
They
played
now
some
they're
other
accepting
festivals.
you as a folk musician.
I got one of these. That's all I need.
You'll have to
Um,
you'll have to
I think
tell the people. Go ahead.
no. I mean, I think it was just a matter of scheduling, and you know, we started off as an indie rock band, so maybe we didn't fit the description of folk
Right.
artist, but
Yeah. Well, I want to again say thank you from all of us at the current, our audience, and all of the staff, because as I said, you've been with us since day one. We've played your music, I think, from for the last 15 years, and you've played some big shows for us. In fact, the last show we managed to broadcast before things closed down was your show at the Palace on Valentine's Day. So, do you have any special memories? Because it's going to have a special place in our heart from now on.
well, both Iron and Wine and Calexico were very excited to get to return to the St. Paul, Minneapolis area and play the Palace. We started off the day right. Somebody had brought some amazing locally made donuts for Valentine's Day,
Sweet.
and they were incredible. They were really amazing. We have a great crew and of course musicians all playing in the band. Madison Cunningham was playing that night, who is phenomenal,
That's, that's
and
right.
we've been
I've heard
enjoying
great things about
getting
it.
to watch her play and just grow and grow. And her band is incredible. It was an amazing night. I was really glad that it was filmed and recorded and
Yeah.
released out there.
Yeah. Well, thanks for letting us do that. And what do you think as
Oh,
a long time touring musician? The Palace is a pretty good place to play, huh?
cheers to the Palace. I love it. It was a great vibe.
Going
I
back a little
especially like
further, I'm going. Oh,
oh,
going back a little further, can you remember anything special about Rock the Garden? We've had to cancel this year's, but you were there in 2009 playing with the
yeah,
Decemberists going on last. Do
yeah,
you have any special memories of that?
I do. My big thought after doing that was we got to do more of these. It's so much fun. I was
Good.
so honored to be there. We do a lot of those type of festivals or smaller festivals in
Yeah.
Europe. um, and they're always the best, right? Because you
Yeah.
get people coming out, just being comfortable, being outside. Of course, being at the Walker Centers is another
It helps.
treat for musicians and artists. Yeah, for sure. But it's just a great natural setup with a lawn
Yeah.
kind of acting as an
Yeah.
amphitheater, if you will.
Yeah.
But you guys are
Yeah. We're
amazing. So
blessed.
thank you. Yeah, I mean, you really are. We're blessed to have you guys. And every time we get to meet up and I get to work with the current and go to the studios, it's such a treat. It's a really, you guys are doing it right.
Well, thanks for saying that, Joey.
Yeah.
That's special coming from someone like yourself. So before we get too weepy, though, maybe you should play some more music.
You notice the tears, huh?
Yeah. What do you want to do?
I was thinking about doing a song called Fortune Teller. I was down in New Orleans and making this record called Algiers. And my buddy Pieta Brown sent me some lyrics, and this one really stood out. So this is a co-write between Pieta Brown and myself, Fortune
Sweet.
Teller. I was just standing, turning around. That's when they caught me heading down. Keep on going, don't look away. That's what they tell me, that's what they say. You're a pretty thought, I suppose, but I'm just trying to hold up as I go. One day I swear I'll spread my wings. I'm on my way to find things. Yeah, I'm on my way to find a thing. It wasn't just me playing those games. Still, it's my own fault just the same. And I opened up, I let you in. Now these crystal fields are wearing thin. Yeah, opened up, I let you in. Let you in. I'm walking with a fortune teller, and I can't see my own way home. But I don't like this dark road anymore, and I don't wanna be alone for long. Oh, yeah, I don't wanna be alone for long, and I don't wanna be on this dark road alone.
Jerry, that was sweet. I love the dynamics in the middle there. Even on the computer, you got the going down low and coming back again. That was awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mark. It's great to see you. My best to your wife and everybody there at the station
Thank
and
you,
in
man.
your community. Tucson
Yeah,
sends love.
our best to you. And it's great that you played a Pieta song because she's got a big fan base up in the Twin Cities. I know she has a lot of friends here. She always plays big shows, so that was a sweet connection for us too. And our
Yeah,
best to all the rest of the guys in the band and Sam and everyone. And we hope you can get back on the road, obviously, as soon as possible. You had a big show on the 28th of June at the Hollywood Bowl, Joey. It would be
I know.
disappointing not to make that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I told everybody, I said, look, if it doesn't happen this year, let's do it next year. We all um, uh, we met up in New York backstage. Andrew had just flown in to do a show the following day, and he came backstage. We hung out, had pizza. We filmed us all playing a Willie Nelson song called "On the Road Again" in the
Oh, yeah.
bathroom. and
Nice.
uh, and like the sparks were starting to ignite, and it was just a good vibe. And I think as we kind of go from here, I have to start writing some Calexico songs, and I
Yeah.
just keep on thinking that I want to invite friends like Andrew and Sam and others into the mix and just have it be about community, and see what happens. And so
Well, I
I hope
think
that we get to play
artists
it
like you, yeah, I hope I think artists like you and that kind of spirit is very special for people to see right now, Joey. I think that's really how we feel in our community. It's coming together in really special ways.
together.
Obviously, no one likes the reason why it's coming together, but I think that's inspiring within our community, and I think that can inspire others too. So, and hey, your last album was called Years to Burn. So how prescient is that? Now you're going to have to, maybe you'll burn a year and start all over again.
I know. I was really resisting playing a song from an earlier Calexico album called "End of the World" with you because I wanted to focus more on the positive.
Well, good for you. Keep that defiant optimism. That's what I'm making my mantra. So,
Yeah,
Jerry, thank you,
good.
thank you, thank you, and we'll
Pleasure.
see you again soon. Hopefully, keep in touch, and when you come back to the Twin Cities, you're always welcome in our studios. And take care until then. Thanks for listening or watching.
All right, we're clear.
Are we out?
Hey, thanks,
Nice.
Eric.
That was an awesome job, Joey. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
That was awesome.
It was sweet.